Well, as you may have heard, Donald Trump held a rally in the Bronx. And this is a part of his ongoing narrative that he's very excited about, that he's so popular and Joe Biden is so unpopular that he just may win in New York. He may get a majority of the vote in New York. And that's not going to happen, but even though strategically this is a ridiculous waste of time and resources for him, and he should spend his time in states that he could win, swing states that will decide this election, we should applaud this and encourage it. Yes, spend as much time as you possibly can trying to win over voters in the Bronx instead of going to those swing states. And one of the things that he does at almost every event or after every event, as we've seen going all the way back to his inauguration, if not before, is overstate the size of the crowd that will show up. He sees crowd size as an indicator of broader popularity. Now, we understand that a lot of people go out to vote and they care about voting and they'll vote for Biden or any other person, but they're not necessarily identifying so much with the person that they need to go to a rally. And so it's really hard to gauge political support based on rally attendance. But there is a photo that I'll show you of the real crowd size at this event that Trump definitely does not want you looking at, because it contradicts with what now the narrative is in right-wing media, which is that tens of thousands, 30,000, 40,000 people were at this rally, which logistically, based on where it was held, is almost impossible. But here's this from Mediaite. Former President Donald Trump repeatedly boasted about the crowd size attending Thursday's political rally in the Bronx. And we'll get to some clips from this, of course, in just a second, as his custom. However, a local New York Evening News reporter from ABC7's Jim Dolan revealed a different story about how many people attended and who actually made up the crowd. And I'll put on screen this photo taken from ABC 7 that shows you what it looked like, which, as you can tell, that's not exactly 30,000, 40,000 people, as some of these Trumpers are claiming. And then this other excerpt writes, Dolan then pivoted to the home states of the pro-Trump rallygoers in attendance with the aid of an unnamed professor who said they're all from out of state. Go out there, look at them, call that a pocket check out of where they came from. Tennessee, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Texas. Dolan did find one pro-Trump rallygoer, but he was not from the Bronx. He was from the Queens. So this is all very unconsequential, unimportant, right? As I've said before, if Trump wouldn't overhype the size of these events, they're impressive. Often he'll bring a lot of people to rallies, but that doesn't change, number one, that he's not going to win in New York, and number two, that people shouldn't be supporting him, right? He can get big crowds. That just further reminds us of how scary it is that so many people are being misinformed enough or have flawed enough values to support Trump. Ron Filipkowski wrote on X, right-wing media can hype this Bronx rally all they want. In a city of over 8 million people, Trump drew 4,000 tops. That's with a lot of people from out of state making a similar point there. So that's the photo part of this, but let's move to some videos. I want to show you something out of context, then I'll give you the context, and it's insane from this rally.
Oh, I like that. I want to get that done.
President Trump, oh man. One thing I want to say. One thing I want to say. They always gonna whisper your accomplishments and shout your failures. Trump gonna shout the wins for all of us.
Make America great again.
Thank you, fellas.
I appreciate you.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. That's where I like those teeth. I want to find out where you did. I got to get my teeth like that.
So Ron Filipkowski also responded to this saying Sleepy Hollow and Chef G, those were the two individuals on stage, and they're rappers apparently, were indicted last May along with 30 other gang members and on a 140 count criminal indictment including murder and at least 12 shootings. Chef G recently posted a $1.5 million cash bond to get released. And here he is with Trump Law and Order. Midas Touch reporting on this. Trump accepts endorsement from indicted gang members. The Law and Order candidate. NewJersey.com accused murderers for Trump. He welcomes endorsements from indicted rappers at rally last May. Michael Williams, who's Chef G, and Tegan Chambers, who's Sleep Hollow, were arrested as part of a 32-defendant, 140-count criminal indictment in New York. And the indictment included murder, attempted murder, illegal firearm possession, and at least a dozen shootings. So at first you'd think, well, this is crazy. Why would he accept the endorsement, bring on stage, presumably knowing who they are, these two individuals who, to be fair to them, have not been convicted yet, but these cases are ongoing and they have been indicted. And that seems a little bit strange. But remember, Trump just may be a convicted felon pretty soon. He's also been indicted, in his case, 4 times. So maybe hanging out with other alleged criminals is the way for him to go. He fits right in, I guess you could say. And I'll remind you, too, a registered sex offender, Lawrence Taylor, appeared at a previous rally of Trump. So he really is surrounding himself with the most law and order people, I guess, that you could imagine. Brett Meiselas responded to this saying, how is this not the biggest story of the day? Hello, media. And then we'll move off from that to this clip. Every rally, Trump has to have glitches like this one.
And it is hardworking, patriotic, and this is something you can say it, and you can say it 1,000,000 times, and you can emblazon it. It's hardworking patriots like you who are going to save our country. You are going to save our country.
And then you have this.
You live in a blue city, but it's going red very, very quickly.
And friend of the show, Aaron Rupar, responded to that saying, I'll have some of what he's smoking. But again, encourage it. Yeah, we're really scared. Maybe you're going to turn New York City red. Maybe you just might do it. You just might be that incredible. And please spend as much money and as much time in New York City instead of in swing states elsewhere. And then a truly bonkers moment from this event. You have some guy appearing on stage and saying this to Trump.
Today I'm here for various reasons. But I want to tell you first that as a Puerto Rican, as a Hispanic, I want to apologize to you for the conduct of George Juan Merchant. As a Hispanic, I want to apologize.
Thank you.
Right. So if you missed it, again, Ron Filipkowski said one of the most ridiculous things that has ever happened in the history of American politics. He said, as a Hispanic, I want to apologize to you for the conduct of Judge Merchan. So he, as a Puerto Rican American, is saying that I guess because he's Hispanic, Judge Merchan's Hispanic, that he has the ability to apologize on behalf of what, all Hispanics, for the behavior of Judge Merchan. Oh, crazy stuff. Here is another moment from Trump.
President Xi of China, Putin, Viktor Orban, did you ever hear of him? Prime Minister of Hungary. Very tough guy, known as a strong man. Oh, they hate it when I talk about him because they say he's a strong man. Trump loves strong men. I don't know. I like weak men, actually. I like weak men. I'd much rather have a weak man than a strong man. But he is a strong man. And they asked him, why is it that the whole world is blowing up? He said, one simple reason, Trump is not president in the United States. He said, you put Trump back as president and the whole world is going to get better, because they were afraid of Trump. They couldn't figure Trump out. Trump was a rather difficult person, but he used the word afraid. I don't use it. I don't use afraid. I use the word respect. They respected your president.
You ever heard of Viktor Orban? Yeah, he's known as a strong man, but I like weak men. But Victor's strong, and I like Victor. I really like Victor. Let me see if I can get Victor on the phone. No, so he is obsessed with any authoritarian that he comes into contact with. He finds their power so incredible. He's so in awe of it, and that's what he wants for himself. That's why he admires Viktor Orban, and they're telling that story. Yes, Authoritarians like each other, so Viktor Orban says things constantly that are positive about Trump. One thing that Trump doesn't include is Viktor Orban revealing that in his meeting with Trump at Mar-a-Lago somewhat recently, Trump said to him, according to Orban, that his solution, or Orban said he took from the conversation that Trump's solution, when he says that I could end Russia's invasion of Ukraine in 24 hours, is by giving, whatever that means, whatever Russia wants to Russia. That's the solution. We've been saying it for so long that when he says, oh, I could wrap this thing up real quick. Yeah, maybe in a horrifically devastating way you could do that, but not in a way that made any sense. That's what Orban revealed. And a little bit different than the story that was told there. Then we won't do a whole segment by itself on this, but sort of getting away from the speech related to Trump, I did want to make sure to say that Nikki Haley, if you missed this, said she's going to be voting for Trump. So that happened. And that is yet another example of someone, I don't know what she's doing. It seemed like she was willing to call out the threat that Trump poses, sort of, and said that he's unfit for office, sort of. But just like all the other Republicans, Nikki Haley, you're no longer special. You're no longer of higher character or anything. Pretending like Biden poses a greater threat to America or the Constitution or anything, or is less serious about seriously governing, for lack of a better phrase, than Trump, is absolutely absurd. And you've lost all credibility. Many of your voters are shocked that you're doing this. And I'm honestly surprised. I thought whenever she came out and said she wasn't going to be endorsing Trump and didn't say she's going to vote for him whenever she dropped out of the race, that meant she was going to leave it at that and not say that she's voting for him. But she's voting for him, as she revealed recently. And in response to that news, you have someone who's auditioning to be Trump's vice presidential running mate. Maybe Nikki Haley is too, but a different person. Tim Scott was on Fox News, and during his response to the news about Nikki Haley, he said this.
Billions of other Americans coming to the same conclusion that our economy was better under Trump, that our border, there was no crisis, that the fact of the matter that the violence in the streets absent under the Trump years. So we need 4 more years of common sense, 4 more years of law and order, 4 more years of low inflation, and 4 more years of low unemployment.
So I've had that clip in my doc of clips that I want to cover and haven't gotten to it. That's why I threw it in here, because it's so absurd. And come here, get closer. I've been wanting to do that for a while. It's so absurd that people watch what we just watched and go, yeah, nailed it. Boom, 3 strong points. He brought up the economy. Stop it. Stop it, MAGA. Stop it. Acting like it's at all acceptable to omit a global crisis that collapsed our economy. Okay? That happened. And no, we don't blame the fact the pandemic started on Trump, but we do blame his mismanaging of that crisis. And also the hypocrisy is blinding, as we've gone through in the past, of you blaming all the pandemic conditions that carried over into Biden on Biden, but then saying that Trump should get no blame for mismanaging these conditions. And part of the reason they were so bad when Biden took over is because Trump was mismanaging them. So all of that's very enraging. And the recovery we've seen since Biden came into office with the economy in shambles has been very impressive. 2, he brought up the border. Just remember, right now, Democrats are once again in the Senate, where Tim Scott works, trying to propose this bipartisan border deal. Again, bring it up to a vote. Once again, it's going to be shot down by MAGA Republicans to serve Trump. And this is the very legislation they've been hoping for some time, but now they don't want it because they don't want Biden to get a win. So that they can't bring up. And Trump, while he was president, was constantly saying, we've looked at clips in the past, that there was a huge crisis at the border while he was president. That's why he was asking for Congress to act on it. And now they flipped around and said there was no crisis while he was president. And you don't need Congress to solve this issue. That's why Biden shouldn't be asking for Congress' help. And then number 3, he says there was no violence in the streets. Just remember, violent crime right now, lower than it was any time under Trump. And also, the summer of 2020 that they fearmonger so much about happened when Trump was president. They'll say this is Joe Biden's America, pointing at things that happened when Trump was president. So it's all nonsense. And ending it with, we need the law and order candidate back, as Tim Scott did, again, is absurd for the reasons I've previously discussed. I'll leave it there. Let me know what you thought of all that in the comments.